Hello, and welcome to one of several presentations about the ethics rules that apply to all federal employees. My name is Rokeem Robinson, and I'm an ethics specialist at the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Office of Ethics. On January 20th, 2021, President Biden signed an executive order requiring all full-time political appointees to sign an ethics pledge that obligates them to obey certain ethical standards of conduct. The new ethics pledge, along with the existing ethics rules applicable to all employees of the executive branch, require a lot of consideration. Both sets of rules are designed to maintain the public trust, and you have committed to abiding by them, and to make decisions exclusively in the public interest without regard to private gain or personal benefit. This video does not cover all of the potential ethics issues raised. If you are a covered employee to which the pledge applies, please do not hesitate to contact the Office of Ethics whenever you have a question about the ethics pledge or any other ethics rule. In this video, I will explain to whom the ethics pledge applies and key takeaways and rules of conduct that current appointees should understand in carrying out their official duties. There are a variety of rules that apply to you as an appointee, and it is important you know these rules and when to contact the Office of Ethics to avoid violating any ethics rules. The Office of Ethics will produce a separate video that will discuss the post-government employment restrictions under the Ethics Pledge. First, the pledge applies to every Biden administration political appointee and every executive agency appointed on or after January 20th, 2021. So if you are politically appointed to your federal position, whether you are a senior official confirmed by the Senate, a non-career SES, or a Schedule C appointee, you are probably required to sign the Ethics Pledge and comply with its terms. Now, we're going to discuss the ethics rules established in the pledge that may apply to you. Similar to pledges from past administrations, the new pledge prohibits appointees from accepting gifts from registered lobbyists or lobbying organizations. The ethics rules addressing gifts from outside sources are covered in other videos produced by this office. The ethics pledge adopts the same definition for a gift set forth in the ethics rule at 5 CFR 2635-203B. The main takeaway is that if you receive something of value from a lobbyist or prohibited source, or if it is offered because of your official position, contact the Office of Ethics to determine whether it would be appropriate to accept the gift. This is particularly important if you are invited to an event hosted by an outside organization. The Office of Ethics can review the invitation to ensure your attendance complies with the applicable rules, including the lobbyist gift ban provision of the Ethics Pledge. It is always a good idea to consider declining a gift from any outside source if you think accepting it would cause a reasonable person to question your integrity as an appointee to public office. The pledge also imposes restrictions on your participation with matters involving or of interest to your former employer. Once you sign the pledge, you must avoid official USDA work that involves former employers and former clients, even meeting or communicating with them. This means that if you receive a call from your former employers and former clients who wish to discuss your USDA work, you might have to respectfully explain the need to recuse from working with them because of your pledge agreement and other ethics rules. Even if your former employer or client does not approach you or they are not a party to the matter, you may still need to avoid working on matters where the matter may relate to or involve your former employer or client. This recusal requirement lasts for 2 years from the day you started the agency. It is a good idea to talk to the Office of Ethics about this restriction and see if you need to draft an independent ethics agreement. But do you have to worry about employers or clients from a decade ago? No. This provision of the pledge only applies to individuals or entities that you personally represented, advised, or worked with within the last 2 years prior to the date of your appointment. In summary, you should not communicate with any past employer or client that you worked for within the 2 years prior to your appointment. The only exception to this rule is if the communication between you and your former employer or client meets 2 key tests. 1. Is the communication taking place in a setting open to the general public? And 2. Is the communication about a broad and general policy matter? The Office of Ethics can help draft an ethics agreement if you think past employers might communicate to you as a USDA appointee, or if they frequently contact the agency to conduct their business. Basically, the good rule of thumb is to call us at any time when your former employers or clients try an open communication channel with you during your first 2 years at the USDA. Additionally, if you were a registered lobbyist or an agent for a foreign entity, you will have additional restrictions and recusal obligations, so make sure to contact the Office of Ethics if this is the case. For example, if you were a lobbyist or a foreign agent in the 2 years prior to joining USDA, You are prohibited from working on a matter on which you lobbied or even working on a specific issue area in which that matter falls. Further, if you lobbied USDA in the 2 years prior to your appointment, Paragraph 3 of the pledge dictates that you may not seek or accept appointment to a position at the USDA. So if that is a problem, you need to contact your ethics advisor now. The last pledge restriction we're going to explain is the golden parachute ban. Political appointees often receive some form of deferred compensation from their prior employers after their appointment. The ethics pledge prohibits you from accepting any compensation from your former employer if the compensation, including non-cash benefits, was a function of your accepting a position in the United States government. If you think a former employer might try to award your decision to accept your appointment with an extraordinary payment like this, contact your ethics advisor immediately. You will probably not be able to accept it. Remember, please do not hesitate to contact the Office of Ethics whenever you have a question about the ethics pledge or any other ethics rule. Thanks for tuning in, and remember to stay ethical, my friends.